DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are joined now by Barry Tramel, columnist for the Tulsa World. Barry, good morning.
How's things in Salt Lake?
Tense. College football fans on the edge of their seats. There's 2 weeks left, and who are the first two teams below the line and outside of the college football playoff? BYU at 11 and Utah at 12. There's tension, Barry.
Probably pretty good ratings for that Tuesday night show, and good ratings in Salt Lake for that Tuesday night show.
Well, yeah, we're looking at it and to the level of what's fair, what isn't fair, head-to-head and all that stuff. You know, I think that once you involve a committee, it turns into a beauty contest. And the thing that we've been talking about is that my line of thinking is the committee chairman comes out and says that BYU, they're with only one loss, is down a little bit behind some two-loss teams, obviously. And he says, well, the game against Texas Tech didn't look good, right? That's the quote. The way it looked. He used that verb look and looked in the past tense because that's what it is. All right. So I'll take him at his word and the way it looked. So my line of thinking is if the Cougars go ahead and beat Cincinnati back there and then come home next week and close out the regular season against UCF and then they get into the game in Arlington, the standard now established by the committee is look good, not win. It's look good. So all they have to do is go to Arlington on a neutral field, and it's all with quotes around it because it's not easy. But all they have to do is make that game look good according to the words of the leader of the committee. I don't see how you argue. I made that statement this morning, and I wanted to leave because I said I won the argument. There's no reason for me to continue the show till 10 o'clock.
Yeah, here's the problem. The problem is you got 13, or I guess no, we're down to 11. We can't keep people on the committee. They're dropping like flies. But you got 11 people in there voting, and then one guy has to go and explain the vote. And the PR nature, the presentation of these rankings is problematic in my mind. I think there's a lot of things with the format of the selections I'm not crazy about either. But just the TV show itself is problematic. We might be better off. A lot of people say don't have any rankings, which that may be a valid thing. I'd almost be better off not having anybody explain them because it just makes us madder, right? It doesn't bring any clarity. It brings more confusion. The more they talk, the more confused we are. Like down here in Oklahoma, the chief thing seems to be, and this is actually very much relatable to BYU and Utah. They don't seem to care near as much about your wins as they do your losses. Like the idea that Notre Dame would be ahead of Alabama, it's sort of silly when you just look at the people they've beaten. But Alabama lost to Florida State. Turns out there's a bad loss. And they don't like to forgive people for bad losses, no matter how many good teams you beat. And Notre Dame hadn't beaten anybody of substance except USC, turns out. So they love themselves, the people who avoid bad losses and have fewer losses. So I think those are the keys that what we've learned from them, as sort of the same way last year. So I like your deal about Brigham Young. I think that's valid. I'm sure I've said this before with you guys, but the thing that drives me bananas is, when they start using statistical analysis, when they start talking about, watching the games. They're proud of the iPads they walk around with. I think people say, well, we need more coaches on there. We need fewer coaches on there. We need more plumbers, and we need more history teachers, and we need more insurance salesmen, We need more people who just make basic, everyday, common sense decisions every day, throughout the week. And we need people who don't fancy themselves as football experts. We're not trying to build a team. We're not doing an NFL draft. Trying to gauge what football teams have done the most to get into the playoff, and the committee seems to have a struggle with that.
One thing that would help both BYU and Utah if the teams in the top 10 lost. Now, 3 of them are on byes, and 4 or 5 of them have what look to be pretty lopsided or completely lopsided matchups. Alabama, Eastern Illinois were all on the edge of their chair for that thing. But there are a couple good games here. USC is at Oregon, 7th-ranked Oregon. That's a good test, 8-2 USC at 9-1 Oregon. And then your Oklahoma Sooners. We assigned them to you. You're an Oklahoman, we're not, so they're now yours. Are hosting the Missouri Tigers, who are 7-3, 3-3 in the SEC. Could Missouri go into Norman and win the game, and Oklahoma with a third loss might tumble then and open the door for somebody like BYU or Utah?
Oh, absolutely. That could happen, and if they lose, it will happen in terms of everybody moves up. And it should happen. I mean, a playoff team or a would-be playoff team that loses at home to a good but not great Missouri team playing without its quarterback doesn't deserve a playoff berth, I don't think. So, the problem we got, and this is not unfair in this specific instance because I think that's valid, but we're back to the old days where you just hope people ahead of you lose so that you can move up. And that's very reminiscent of the old AP poll days when if you were number 7 at this time of the year, you needed people to tumble because you couldn't win your way past a lot of teams. So, but yeah, the USC, Oregon, and Oklahoma, Missouri, it's a shame here. This is the this is the 4th Saturday in November. And we got a slate of games. The way that we've got is just an abomination. A lot of people on the bye. A lot of people playing the rum-dums. The Big 12 is not engaging much in that. Tech, I think, is off this week. Tech and whoever else, West Virginia or somebody. But we don't have that many good games. I don't understand it. So we have to take what we can get. But, yeah, BYU, listen, no offense taken from the fine folks of Utah praying the rosary for Missouri this week. But we understand. They're all card-carrying members of the USC and Missouri fan clubs. And, good luck to the Cougars and the Utes. They're going to have it's pretty clear to me that the committee likes Utah. The Utes have been waxing people so bad. They like it when they like teams that win big. They like you to avoid defeat, but when it comes to victory, they like teams that dominate. When maybe they should, and Utah's been doing that. That crazy Utah offense is a runaway mine train. So they like Utah a lot. And it's going to be tough for the Utes without BYU losing. It's going to be tough for Utah to gain much traction. So I guess for Utah, of course, wishes nothing but ill will on BYU this week, in addition to the ill will they do every week. But now I have not looked this up, but I read it. Is it true? The 5-way tie scenario puts Utah in Arlington. Is that right?
I do not know that.
A 5-way?
5-way. If BYU loses to Cincinnati, and everybody else wins out, including BYU and Utah, I don't think any of them play each other the rest of the year. So we'd have a 5-way tie at 5-2. I mean at 7-2. BYU, Utah, Cincinnati, Arizona State, and whoever I'm leaving out.
Houston.
So I think strength of schedule becomes the criteria, and I think Utah advances. And that's not a crazy scenario. We just need BYU to lose to Cincinnati, and it very well could happen.
Yes.
And in that instance, Utah gets a swing at Texas Tech, and the Utes would have to win. But a lot of people like Utah. I think that might be a better way for Utah to get in than just hoping they move up by osmosis.
Yes, I think that this game at Cincinnati Saturday is the deciding game because we don't see BYU losing to UCF. And so if they beat Cincinnati because they got UCF at home to close out the season, essentially they clinch without clinching, and then everybody else doesn't have a chance. But if they lose to Cincinnati, then it's on. It's a bunch of stuff that could go crazy. I suppose maybe in the Utes losing at Kansas, who knows? But that's why we're looking forward to this game, because it without literally and using the word essentially replacing that, that's what we look like we have Saturday night.
Yeah. What time is BYU Cincinnati? That's 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock your time, yeah.
7 o'clock. Okay, that's good. I'll get home in time to see that. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the better games. It might be the third best game. I assume it is the third most in terms of ranking of the teams. That's the number 3 game in America.
Impact on the race to be the second team in the Big 12. It's and our area of the country, it's huge. In other places, it would be knocked down a peg or two. I think SC and Oregon, but I'm an old Pac-12, Pac-10 guy, so I still have those biases.
Yeah, but I think based on the poll this year, that's a huge game. And I think the other question has to be answered, what does USC look like when they win, and how much credit they get, and how high do they vault up based on that victory?
I think
here's what you got. Here's what you got in Oklahoma. The Sooner fans are torn between their eternal hatred of Lincoln Riley and wanting to lose everything, including his walk to the mailbox. They want him, he'd step off the curb and break an ankle. But if they could win and squirm their way into the standings, and the Sooners could win out, is there a way we could have a final ranking of 7 and 10?
Yes.
Or 8 and 9? And then all of a sudden, the Trojans are sent to Norman, Oklahoma.
I would love it. I would love it.
Oh, my goodness. Let me tell you something. That would be the closest thing we'd ever see to the Roman Coliseum. I promise you. And nobody's got their thumbs up, I tell you. So,
yeah, they should do that. We know they do it in the NCAA's basketball. Put a little drama on top of the actual matchup. Why not?
Yeah, so that would be a wild one. What's crazy, though, is the 2 prime slots, TV-wise, for the first round of the playoffs, ESPN has sold to TNT. So the Saturday afternoon and the Saturday night playoff games are on TNT, which I find fascinating. I don't know why they didn't sell on the Saturday morning game and maybe the Friday night game. But we're talking so I don't even know where the marquee matchups would be. We're going to have 2 dud games, it looks like. In the first round of the playoffs, we'll have that the mid-major, so Tulane or James Madison, whoever it is, and then whoever comes out of the ACC, Virginia or Georgia Tech's going to play. That's going to be a really good game if Virginia goes to Alabama. Virginia will hang tough and get beat 34-3. So we got 2 duds in the playoff coming. So I'm anxious to see how they divvy those up with TNT and ESPN, considering TNT has the Saturday afternoon and Saturday night games.
I think they got those games because I'll bet those are the times that compete with NFL games, which they assume will hold the ratings down.
That's probably right. That's probably right. Maybe they'll give them James Madison and Virginia. That could put OU USC at the early kickoff on Saturday or the Friday night game. Because there'll be another good game. Ole Miss playing, So I don't know who it might be. Ole Miss and Notre Dame, whoever. It's going to be a half and half deal. But no, hey, listen, Brigham Young at Cincinnati is one of the coolest matchups of all time. because of the differences in the schools and the settings and the football programs and all that. You go to the Wasatch Mountains and you go to Lavelle Edwards Stadium and you sit there and you got this glorious scene. You got the mountain, you got the Y up on the side of the mountain. You got some snow-capped stuff. It's just a glorious setting, one of the best in college football. And you go to Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati, and you feel like you're like in, Michigan Avenue in Chicago or Times Square. You're right in the middle of a massive city. You've got skyscrapers in the background. You got the school. You got the university campus all around you. I've never seen a stadium so shoehorned into a place. You can be standing like in the seat, and you can be sitting in a seat at Nippert Stadium, and you're like 75 feet from the student union. You're like 50 feet from the campus wellness center. I mean, they just crammed this little stadium right in between a bunch of buildings. Now, that's not really true because they built it 120 years ago. But it's just an unbelievable urban setting, and it's really cool. I like both places, but they are just so vastly different. The BYU fans, I think, are really going to find it interesting playing at Cincinnati. They call it the Wrigley Field of college football. I don't know that Cub fans call it that, but Cincinnati fans call it that. So that's going to be a cool setting and a really good game. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
From a long way away and a different vibe than us, do you feel like BYU gets it done on the road? Cincinnati's coming off back-to-back losses, just a soul-crushing beating at Utah. And at home, I think, probably you expect them, if they're who they want to be, they expect them to bounce back against Arizona. But Arizona seems to be on the rise, and Arizona gets them. So I'm wondering what kind of effort and confidence Cincinnati brings to this game.
Well, I think Cincinnati will play well, or I don't think effort's going to be a problem. I do think they played a little over their head, though. I do think they're not as good maybe as their record indicates. I think they've done a nice job producing a really good season. I'm very encouraged by what they've done. But I think Brigham Young's a better team. And I think BYU, I don't know if Tech provided a wake-up call, but Brigham Young looked like a different team against TCU. I mean, TCU's not great, and they're just sort of a solid team. But they generally play everybody tough. They go down to the wire with Iowa State, go down to the wire with Arizona State. They go down to the wire with Baylor. That's just, they're just a good team that plays people tough. Win some, lose some. And BYU took them to the woodshed.
Yeah.
And that was a mismatch. And it looked to me like Brigham Young just sort of woke up because it had been driving along that pathway of, doing okay, but really toying with some teams they shouldn't toy with. And it looked like they got a good wake-up call. And so I think Brigham Young will go to Cincinnati and take care of business and come back to Provo with a chance to make the playoff.
Barry, we appreciate it as always. Thanks for joining us and talking a little football.
Hey, see you guys later.
Okay. All right, see ya. Barry Tramel, we'll look for him on Press Box Cutaways of the Oklahoma-Missouri game.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma rolls. They're playing really good football. And I think the SEC gets 5 teams in minimum.
They're set.
I mean, half the top 10 is SEC.
This would be a great win for Missouri. Missouri's 3-3 in league, and their 3 wins are against bottom feeders. So
yeah,
this would be far and away their best conference win. It wouldn't even be close.
Right.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jay Drew, beat writer for the Deseret News, covering the BYU Cougars, joins us at 9 o'clock. Stay with us.
This is JJ and Alex.
I got this.
We watch Oklahoma do its thing, and then you go, wow, can you believe they beat Alabama at their place? And to do it on November 15th, just impressive. We never say that.
Why does the date matter?
It doesn't, but here we are because it does. The Alabama loss at Florida State, no one cares about anymore. Texas has to play Texas A&M last game. And of course, Texas A&M is going to do the thing that the SEC does. They're going to lose a freaking game. And then Texas is going to get vaulted up as a 3-loss team because they just beat number 3 Texas A&M. Well, when did you do it? November 25th. Wow. So you see where we're going here?
Yeah.
We're watching the car wreck happen in slow motion, and we have no ability to stop it. It's one of those terrible dreams where you're like reaching as slow as you can to try to stop something. Can't do it. Cannot do it.
And then you're left thinking, man, even in a 12-team playoff, they somehow managed to rig the system.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at KSLSports.com/contest. And then listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. Dubbed it almost perfectly. If you're watching the show stream, PK was lip-syncing along.
Yeah. It's been a rough few weeks for me. I got fired from that, got fired from the other gig the other night. Oh, man. See? I've been fired a lot in my life. Got fired from the Jazz TV. Hell, they won't even let me do radio anymore. I got fired from that.
Just stay here where you're loved, PK. Just stay here where you're loved.
Think about it, man. I've been fired more times in this town than any media member ever. That's the truth.
The best part about this is 15 seconds before he came back to break, he muttered a topic to me.
Well, we can get to it.
And now, pivot. We're doing this.
No, this is not a segment topic.
Okay, I just want to say, why don't you just go Johnny Cash and get it over with?
What? Boy named Sue? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
you've been fired here. I've been fired everywhere.
Think
I've
about
been
it,
everywhere.
though.
I've been fired
it's
everywhere.
It's a fact. I've been fired more times in media gigs in this town who still has a media gig than anybody. I got run there. I got run here. I got run there. Hey, see, I'm run PJK.
I would say that you had contracts lapse, which is different than being fired.
Sure.
I mean, you're not there. I get that.
However you want to couch it, I know. Your feelings are so much deeper. Mine, you just crush them. No big deal. Move along, son. I get it. I get how it works. I don't think I'm out over here in a lot of pain. I just mask it.
Paycheck is why I live in Utah. And how do you mask your pain, PK? More golf?
By being loud and obnoxious, just like always.
So every time you're loud and obnoxious, it's just the masking of pain.
Now you finally figured it out.
The end. All right, once again, let's just sit here quietly for the next hour and 25 minutes. The show's over.
Show's only just begun.
Oh, okay. Sing that.
I don't want to give you white lace and promises.
All right, the topic you wanted to discuss, which I have borderline almost forgotten at this point.
Because you're a dope.
Nope. The greatest ever.
This is the biggest win that is facing BYU or the most crushing, soul-destroying loss. And it's crazy to think that you could beat Saturday night 9-2, and this sucks lowest of any BYU defeat ever. But I think that's realistic.
I think the crushing loss I could probably sign off on. I'm trying to think what would compete with it.
Nothing. Because the stakes have never been higher.
Yeah, I know, and I get that. And that's why I'm taking a long pause here as I'm running through the nominees and thinking, do I really? So the nominees are, since you just watched the CMAs last night, the nominees are, well, I think you have to put that Utah 54 point. But to your point, it was a September game. What were the stakes?
BYU is totally erased The independent era. It's not. You look in their media guides. It's not even in there.
That's two different things. That's two different things. I know they've moved past in a big way. Totally agree with that. But nonetheless, when people walked out of the stadium, their soul was crushed. Yak, you went to Mountain View High. You grew up amongst
What was Utah's record that year?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was game 2 or 3. I mean, they were 1-1 or 2-0.
No, that year, not at that point in the year. That year.
That might have been one of the 5 and 7 seasons.
But then BFD.
Yeah, it is, because you're that far behind your rival.
No.
Yes.
And your rival is that far behind everybody else in their conference.
That was a bad loss. But I think because of what you say about the stakes, and I hate it when you do this because you do it like weekly. And the greatest thing ever. And then you always with the comma, I admit I'm a prisoner of the moment, comma, the greatest, the worst thing ever.
The stakes have never been higher for BYU football. That's not an arguable statement.
This is one where you got a good case. I don't think it's the
great
best
case. It's open shut, case closed.
It's not, well, I mean, you still have to go back to Michigan when they won the national title as the greatest win because they actually got the title. That's how they did it in that era. I get you don't like that era. It was weird and blah, blah, blah. But nonetheless.
Hey, they played tough to beat a 6-5 Michigan team.
I know all of that, yeah. But nonetheless, that was how it worked in that era, and they got it.
Don't we have to look back just to last year?
No. This is higher.
Well, I'm just saying, like last year they were on track, dropped back-to-back games, and ultimately missed out. And
sure.
That is.
But this would be more soul-crushing than Arizona State. And Arizona State is a big old disappointment.
Because of what happened last year, that makes it more soul-crushing this year.
I buy that.
Fair.
I buy that. There are a lot of guys running around on the field in Cincinnati Saturday who went through it last year.
Yeah.
And presumably should have learned from it.
Well, they've talked about that.
I don't know how you can learn from it. If it's a football game and the ball's in the air, I learned from last year. I got to catch this. That's just blah blah blah.
No.
That has no bearing on anything.
No.
Tackling and blocking.
and
That's
tackling.
What matters.
Blocking and tackling in most of the game, not blowing assignments.
Right. Well, I missed an assignment last year against ASU. I better block Dante Corleone before he gets Michael to shoot me in the head.
The focus you bring, the emotion you bring, the determination you bring.
Which is why if they don't get it, it'll be that much more soul-crushing.
Agreed. So you just disagreed with yourself.
No, I didn't.
Should I do it? Thank you for making my point.
No, I didn't. I amplified my point that because of last year, I don't think last year in the actual game, you want to work out in January and do all that other stuff and pay attention to detail, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying in the actual moment of the game, all you're thinking about is whatever the assignment is right in front of you. You're not thinking, well, we lost last year, so we can't do that again because I spent all January and I spent all February stewing over it and I lifted harder and I ran faster. No, that doesn't matter in the moment. Two different things. That's what I'm saying. In the moment when the game is played, who plays better? The guy's not, Parker Keeks is not like, oh my gosh, man, we lost that game last year. That punt, it's at its apex. I better catch it. No!
I don't think that's how it plays out. I think that's actually a negative way it would play out,
so
and I don't anticipate him playing that way.
You play the game and go ahead and do what you do. And if you lose, it'll be the most soul-crushing loss in BYU fandom history. Because we're talking to the fans. We ain't talking to the players. We ain't talking to the coaches.
The loss I can talk about, I don't think it's the biggest win ever, but the loss. Now, it'd be interesting.
Oh, the biggest win ever. You're in the conference title. You had your little freaking Rose Bowl, but that's so outdated now. It's about getting here, and we're here, and you're going to play in, you going to play in a Sun Bowl? As a San Diego State fan said to me years ago, you're playing a Sun Bowl?
Yep.
Yeah, good look in your Sun Bowl. Come on. Wake up.
No, I think that national championship is still the biggest win. Where it doesn't matter for a lot of people is it's so long ago now that for a couple generations of people, it doesn't resonate.
They did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was going to go more with the people who are 40 and under weren't born yet. But you're right. A lot of people who were there, yes, are dead.
Because you want to spin the positive. I get it. You're old. You don't have much time left, and you're still worried about your freaking image.
Nope.
I'm going to tell you the truth.
No, you're not.
They dead.
No, you're not.
That whole memory thing, get out of town because that was nonsense. Here you can get into the playoff and nobody needs to vote you in. Mark Harlan can sit there and just do whatever he wants.
That's an argument.
It doesn't matter. You're in.
That's an argument for the conference championship game, but not for Cincinnati.
Right, but this is the biggest step to get to that point to date.
I'm not going with biggest win ever. I'll go with most soul-crushing loss. You're getting to such a big stage and so close, and to go through it, again with the back-to-back losses.
They said they were never going to let that. They learned from their experience. Every single one of them, they learned. They learned from their experience, and they did it. And that's just a life lesson that cannot be taught otherwise through any other means but this. Their very success in their lives rides on this game. Because they learned from it.
They'll get fired 14 times by 14 different stations if they don't learn from this game.
They learned.
They will go down your path.
Yeah. Who's going to say they're not even going to mention that they learned from last year. Every day you're supposed to learn something. I hate cliches, and that's all that is.
That is not a cliche.
100 we learned from. No, you went out and you played better in the moment.
Because they learned.
Yeah, Bachmeier, he learned a whole hell of a lot last year when he didn't even pay attention to it.
And that's why I said when this started, they have a lot of guys who played last year. I didn't say they all played last year.
Oh, you
Obviously,
didn't? I thought everybody played last year. I thought they returned the whole team. My bad.
Make a bad point and then mock me for it. Nice.
I actually thought, make a bad point.
Yes.
You did. I agree that the most important position guy who plays it had no idea he'd even be at BYU at this time last year.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Sheesh.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Ben, you yesterday had a strong opinion about the Utah quarterback situation with if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Because right now, the argument for Devon Dampier is we're playing at the level to win a Big 12 title. Why would we change the most important position on the field for what has been some bright flashes but is a relative unknown? And I like Bird. I don't know what this decision's going to come down to. What I am confident in is they're both going to get $1 million offers this summer.
And whether you want to say that this decision between the two needs to be made today or needs to be made in the offseason, the rubber will meet the road. Because I don't think they can commit that portion of their salary cap to two players or their budget or whatever. You're not going to pay two quarterbacks crazy amounts of money. You need that money for the linebacker.
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Just on the offense side of things, it's really fun. We get to call a lot of plays, and a lot of them do work. So it's pretty fun to be on the offense where everything clicks. Winning in the trenches is huge, too. Getting to see our O-line get the credit. Normally, O-line doesn't get too much credit in football. So I love to see those boys shine. And just defensively, they've always had our back. And, we had more of their back last game, but, they basically scored 14 on themselves. So it's been a fun year for sure.
The John Watson Northern Utah High School Player of the Week goes to Ridgeline High School's Graham Livingston. Livingston, a BYU commit, tallied 8 catches for 109 yards and 2 scores in a 48-22 rout of Provo, and they are moving on to the 4A state championship game. Don't miss KSL Sports coverage of the Utah High School Activities Association State Championship game at Rice-Eccles Stadium. It starts today at 10 a.m. on KSLSports.com, the KSL Sports app, or right here on the KSL Sports Zone. See why new and used car buyers give John Watson Chevrolet more 5-star reviews than any other Chevy dealer in Utah. John Watson Chevrolet, your 5-star Chevy dealer. And you will hear the games on 1280 The Zone today. While your favorite shows.
10?
Pre-game show starts at 10.
Pre-game at 10. Okay. First game's at 11.
Okay. And they're all 3 of them, and that's it, huh?
All 3 of them.
And high school football's over.
And that's the end of high school football.
My gosh.
Where does the time go?
I'm going to be dead before I know it. Yeah, everything just blows by.
Yep. True story.
Jeez.
Get the high school title games. A couple weeks later, you have college conference title games. You'll be in the holidays.
I can't believe I put up with you for almost 24 years.
Me neither.
It's so underrated what I have to deal with.
It really is. You're stunning.
We listened to Devon Dampier there.
Yep.
The kid's a great interview.
He is.
You spend any time around him, you're a fan of his.
Yeah. And if I were a school that needed more NIL money to compete, I would put my best assets out in front of the media on a regular basis and let them entertain fans and maybe raise awareness, maybe motivate more people to give. Or you can scream last question after a couple of minutes.
I give you credit, man.
Beat that drum! Beat that drum! Beat that drum! You know I want the world to be logical. You've identified that character in me, and this is one of the most illogical things I have ever seen.
But I've given up. I don't care anymore.
I get it,
but you still crack on it.
We have to sit here and talk about they don't have the money, they can't keep this guy. Why? Why would that be? And the funny thing is, and you can actually go back, and you know this as well as anyone, because you were a beat writer in a different era of access, in a different era of travel, when college teams flew commercial, and there's not much of that going on anymore.
Sure.
I mean, football teams been chartering for a long time, but basketball teams all the big ones are chartering.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
The kids have great stories to tell. They're great interviews. If you meet them, you almost universally want to root for them.
Yes,
people endlessly want to know which team we root for. Yeah. And if you get to know any of the athletes, you're going to end up, as a human being, you're going to have I don't want to see that kid miss a tackle or miss a shot or strike out.
Right.
I mean,
you're right.
You just and you realize your cheering doesn't do anything. And if you do this for a while, you realize you better tell the truth when you go on the air because the audience hates it. The audience can stomach you being wrong, but they do not want to think, you're lying to me, and I know you're lying to me, and you know you're lying. Nobody has time for that.
I got you.
Yeah. And so, okay, whatever. Yeah. And the thing is, it's like the answer to all your questions is money, and for once, maybe it's not. Because I'm confident they would raise more money if people knew their athletes better. And this is across a wide range of sports. I mean, you and I, because the show we got to do for a couple of years, we were meeting athletes that we wouldn't normally meet.
Well,
and they were
in a
fascinating.
different way.
And in a different way, yeah. But they could set that up if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But there's the whole keep everybody away, keep everybody away, keep everybody away. Okay. But you're going to raise less money, and then you're complaining about not having money to get the athletes. I mean, I haven't heard a coach complain about money subtly, effectively, but clearly since Kyle Whittingham on Monday. You're going to retain these two quarterbacks, which to me is two problems. One, it's money, and the other is playing time.
Sure.
So how do you figure out a way to get both guys on the field and sell that? And maybe the way to do that is to explain to Devon Dampier you're not going to the NFL as a quarterback, but a lot of guys with your size, your speed, and your skill set have gone to the NFL at other positions. And maybe we should use you in that way. Maybe we should show you off in the fly sweep. You know? What would he be like as a return guy? He's never been a return guy. Maybe he would just struggle to catch punts. You know, who knows? But when you think of
thought would be no.
What?
He wouldn't struggle.
Probably right, but I don't know that.
He's an amazing athlete.
He's an athlete, so he'll probably if he gets the reps, all through the offseason, he can figure it out.
He'd be fine.
Grab the punter. You got to punt another 50 to me today, and 50 more tomorrow, or 50 more the day after.
Throw the jugs gun up.
Yeah, they can put the jugs gun up, but the whole wobbly thing.
Yeah,
maybe the jugs gun can do that.
He's a great athlete, and he's a great interview. He represents the university well.
Very well.
He smiles.
I know.
He's always upbeat, even in defeat. He's not really down.
You can sense his leadership when he does talk, the way he talks about his teammates. It comes off as genuine, and he makes sure he talks about his teammates, doesn't get up there and talk about himself all the time.
He looks like he's having a time of his life.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of ways, he's told he couldn't do it. He's undersized. He proved he could do it in New Mexico. He's proven he can do it here.
It's fun to see him succeed because then you're going to get, from the media perspective, you're going to get a great quote about it. He's going to be up. I mean, even in losses, which have only had two, obviously, he wasn't totally down. He understood the assignment.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go up there. I have to talk about this game. Am I happy? No.
Nope.
But I'm still going to do it, and I'm going to do it in a professional manner, and I'm going to give answers. They're going to ask me questions. I'm going to give real answers, and it lasts 5 minutes or so, and that's it. There's no pouting. Of course you can be down and disappointed. You put all this effort into it and you lose. That's the way it goes. And then when he wins, he's more upbeat. He is, in all the pollution that has gone on in college sports in terms of making these 18 to 22-year-old kids be as if they're 35 and hand them all this stuff and hasten their development into adulthood. He still has that innocence about him that makes me still want to enjoy the sport, even though it is so crazy the way it's gone, and money and loyalty and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Basically, the situation with the players has caught up to what the situation with the coaches has been for a good while. You know, we're fortunate here in that you got a guy 20-some years, and maybe Scally will continue it, but everybody else, where's the loyalties? Who's this? Who's that? You know, is Kiffin going to take the job? Is he going to take the job while they're right in a title run right now?
Oh, that would be
but
brutal.
But the job's open, and if he wants it, and it would be brutal. But you know, at the same time, he was fired on the tarmac at SC.
Now also brutal.
You don't think that scars him?
Yeah.
So where's the loyalty there? You couldn't wait till he got home the next day? You had to do it when the plane landed?
Yep. If Pat Hayden, you did.
There was that sense of urgency?
Nope.
Yeah.
But there was for Pat Hayden.
I realize if you lose to ASU, it's the worst thing that can happen because that was the game.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I know. But the people at Ole Miss are like, loyalty? I mean, what Pat Hayden did, why does that reflect on us? They wanted the guy and they stuck up for the guy and everything. Yeah.
And it reflects on the business, but at least when you got, there is some sense of purity when you talk to Devon Dampier.
DJ PK, when we come back, Riley Jensen joins us next.
Jay Drew.
Excuse me, you're right. Jay Drew. Why did I have Riley on the brain?
Are you living in the past?
I am, clearly. I'm living in yesterday. Time has not marched on. Time has stopped. Jay Drew next, right here in the Zone.